All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Reality Speaks TV. I'm your host, Sparkle Denise, and I have my co hosts this evening, Heather, Kamal, and Aaron. And welcome to Reality Speaks TV, where real people have real talk and real time. So, tonight we're continuing our dynamic series, Civic Power, Local Voices, Local Choices. This is part two, from learning to action. The goal is to move beyond talk about what local government is and start leaning into what we can do individually and collectively. I'm joined by a powerful panel tonight. Heather Wasielewski, founder of Every Voice Utica, and candidate for Utica City Council at large. Aaron Woodman, public servant and civic engagement advocate. Kamal Fardan, community educator and certified personal training with a deep heart for movement, both physical and political. We're talking real barriers tonight, bold actions, and what civic power looks like when it's not just something we talk about, but something we live. So drop a comment, tag a friend, and let's build something together. Because it isn't just politics, it's about us. Now let's get into it. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Sparkle. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I'm so glad that you all came. And it's a special day for me. I just have to mention and give a shout out to my son, Jacob. He turns 21 today. 21.
Yay.
Happy birthday, Jacob. Mommy loves you dearly. One day you might watch this again. He's, but it just goes to show you what 21 years can do to somebody, right? I didn't think I was capable of just 1 year, but look at what happened. He's beautiful now. So I have an icebreaker question for all of you, and I would like to go in the order of appearance. So since Kamal, you got here first, I'll start with you. But the same question applies. So Heather and Aaron, you got time to think about an answer. If you had to teach a crash course called Civic Power 101 to a room full of teenagers in 5 minutes, what would be your mic drop message? Come on.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think the most important thing that we may be failing to realize as a majority is that there's power in numbers, right? Meaning that no matter what, whoever we elect, we still have to go out and vote. We still have to show up at town hall meetings. We have to show that we are a united block of people and there's numbers. The more numbers, the more power you have. That's what this politics is about. That's how you have your voice. If you can't be at home complaining to your girlfriend on the phone. That doesn't show anything to the people. And so that would be my message. It's a collective effort. That's where our power is at mainly. And secondly, I just think that we need to recheck our expectations of the people we elect. And it may change, because with that, we know we have to still do our part, even though we elect someone. They just our voice. They're going to make sure the issues up here. But we still have to do our part. And I think our expectations are so high. So we're disappointed. We're not showing up as a result of it. I don't know. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it actually did.
Okay.
And I believe, Aaron, you chimed in right as Heather was. I'm going to go with you and then Heather. Same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, that's good.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say when it comes to civic power, like in addition to what Kamal has said in terms of like holding like our elected officials accountable and really staying in touch with like what they're doing And that really emphasizes the point of showing that voting is beyond just going to the polls. It's really about informing yourself about the actions that the elected officials are doing and even political candidates are doing too. So in that case, you want to make sure that you have good information literacy skills when it comes to understanding like information that is being shared with you, how it's being shared with you, is it true, is it false, and how can you make sure that you are seeking out accurate information too as well. This is a skill that we learn in school growing up. Like we're taught like when we write papers that we have to look for evidence to support our arguments and our claims here too. This is stuff that we need to do in our daily lives. Like when we're on social media or having conversations with people, we need to bring those same standards everywhere we're going here, because we don't want to be misleading people, and we also don't want to be misleading ourselves too at the same time here as well. So in addition to that, civic power is also making sure that you are being told the truth and that you're sharing the truth wherever you're going.
Oh, okay. And have that last but certainly not least.
So we're talking about teenagers here, right?
Teenagers.
So I think that letting them know that our local government, in comparison to a national government, is very local, very accessible, and things are attainable through local government. So they can make real change happen quick at a local level, faster than they can at a federal or anything. And I think having them understand that you can actually sit down in the community and talk to people who are making laws. You can't do that with your congressperson. You can't do that with your senator or anything like that. You have the power in the community to actually sit at a table with people, have coffee with them. So I think allowing them to know that this is not actually really hard. The opportunity is right down the street from them to be able to talk to the people that are making decisions in their community. So I guess if I had to make something short, that would be something along the lines of that, for sure.
Oh,
We're
you
talking about
guys.
teenagers here. Teenagers. They don't want to read aloud on something they might not be interested in. They want to know how attainable, how quick they can have access to it. So I think that would be important. But we lost Sparkle, I think. She's back.
That was a great point too, by the way. Real quick to point out that you guys are more accessible than the higher you go. The senators in the state and assemblymen probably got a little less time, and then the ones that's in the federal level even got less time. So that's
It's like, I said this before, and I'll say it again. It's like a giant boulder. If you want to get something to happen at a federal level, you need like 1 million of you to push that boulder. But at a local level, you just need a few of you to move a rock. So it's really important that a lot can happen. You got somebody having
That's feedback or something. I'm the only one hearing it?
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
I'm hearing the feedback.
Okay, let me try to come. Did that help at all?
We're not hearing it now.
Yep, it's gone.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I just got a call, so I think calls kind of throw me off when that happened. And thank you for your patience, everyone.
Okay.
So I'm really glad the way that you guys answered the first question, because we're really talking. I want to really get real now. I guess real in a sense of like let's dig in. I want to talk honestly. Is the traditional civic engagement model outdated?
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, but you're not gonna come. I want to hear what you have to say about this. You have a mind. I'm interested in your opinion, especially being that you ran for city council. So why you're not gonna answer that question for icebreaker?
Okay, that's fair enough. You're right.
Okay.
So the question was, if you had to teach a crash course called Civic Power 101 to a room full of teens in 5 minutes, what would be your mic drop message? My mic drop message would be to focus on your own backyard, meaning let's not try to march to Washington. Let's just try to march to City Hall, which is feasible, where you can get to. As a matter of fact, let's go. I would probably want to organize a field trip with them to come check out local government, maybe a city council meeting. So I guess my words would be follow me around the corner down the block. Let's keep it local. Let's find out who really represents you. And okay, you want to park, you want to slide, you want things, you want an after school program. Let's go. I will probably try to mobilize everybody and get them down there to see a city council meeting. If I had access to a group of full of teens, I'll probably walk right with them. Let's go right now. So
Not to, I want. It's important that I mention this because Aaron was there when the mayor came. Mayor Galimi came. He left with an invitation that he welcomes anybody to bring children down there, and he will give them a tour. I don't know. You remember that, Aaron, when he gave the invitation?
Yeah, so just for context, this is a
Sure.
organizing program that Kamal and I have taken at NBCC during their Center for Leadership Excellence program, and Mayor Mike Galeem of Utica, he came to one of our sessions, and this was about talking about public service, building political relationships, like in and out of government. So as Kamal was mentioning, he did come and he talked about his journey into public service and as a job as working as the mayor. And as he did say, the invitation is open for people to come check out the local government, see what's going on at City Hall, and really be able to network with the people in there to really understand how that all functions and see that you do have a place in there to make your voice heard.
Thank you.
Okay. So when I said let's talk honestly, is the traditional civic engagement model outdated? This question is for you, Heather. How have you modernized the approach through every voice?
I think, how have I? When you talk about civic engagement changing, it definitely happens through social media, live streaming, and all of that. I think it helps with every voice is nonpartisan. Giving people the trust to, I put legislation out there so that everybody can understand it without my opinion, even though I want to make an opinion on it. I think that helps people feel comfortable about what they're learning. So that's some of the things that I've done with every voice. The videos, the graphics that I make that I have how everything works on there, all of that.
And your TikTok don't stop.
Yeah, but also we've gone the extra mile of even breaking down how. Hold on, someone's driving by. How the council room is broken down, like the chambers. We do all the extra work on there, so we, created a place where people can go and get a nonpartisan view of the council.
Could I ask a question to Heather?
Sure.
Huh?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course.
So, what kind of results, I'll call it, did you see? Because you can't really see everything, but I mean, running into people that may have been listening and stuff like that. What was the feedback that became visible to you as a result of it?
When people started showing up at meetings, and then I would get questions about, hey, do you know what they're doing next week, or what does this mean? And I would get messages from people, and that was felt really good. I didn't even care if it was 3 people. We'd static somewhere.
Yeah, that's Sparkle. What you got going on in the background?
Not mine. Yeah, it's Sparkle.
I'm sorry, Sparkle. The static's coming from you.
Yeah. I think it was the idea of that people started showing up in the meetings and asking me questions. I didn't care if 2 people showed up. It was 2 more people that were never attending meetings that were at the meetings. People, asking me how things work through certain legislation that I would bring up. But it was just exciting. Just the questions alone that people would probably DM me or showing up to the meetings. Yeah, I think
so it was worth the effort. It was worth the effort of doing the podcast.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting to actually have people DMing you. So that's a modern way of getting in contact with it. Nobody would DM anybody who's running for any office 5-10 years ago, maybe.
No.
Okay, so Aaron, I have a question for you. Here we are. What are the disconnects you see between institutions and residents?
Well, I would say, disconnections in what way? Like, in what context are we talking about? Like, is it just like understanding like the actions that politicians are doing in
Well,
office,
so
and like, yeah.
it's more about the traditional civic engagement model.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would say like it's really about like making sure there's like enough communication and transparency and like trust between like our elected officials and like the constituents that they serve here too. So really, we have to remember that like our elected officials are supposed to represent our best interests in their public office position here. Like, they're supposed to be the ones that are like advocating for us when there's like an issue that's going on here, like for the people who are facing like homelessness or lead issues or like the economy. There's a variety of things that are going on in people's lives here, and they need like that champion in office to say like, hey, this is what these people are dealing with here, and we need to make sure that our legislation here is addressing those specific groups of people here. And if that's not happening, if they feel like they're being left out here, and like the politicians are like only catering to like one or two demographic groups like for the majority of the time, and not looking at other groups of people, then there's, I could see that disconnect coming in when they see that, okay, I'm not seeing my own elected leader try to like help me out here. I'm seeing them as like, okay, they're only serving themselves, or only serving different like only one or two subset of people instead. So it's really like, it has to be, their interest has to be represented like in office, and if it's not, then that's where the disconnect comes in, and that can affect their trust, and they think that they're not being transparent here, and they're not really like representing their interests there. So I could see how that could create a disconnect.
Okay. And so, Kamal, what role does fitness, wellness, or senior voice play in this conversation?
Wow. So the first thing that comes to my mind is like, seniors is split up to me in a few different demographics. You have the oldest ones, that top tier. They have so many ailments. They're struggling with dementia or pre-dementia, pre-Alzheimer's. The last thing in their mind is fitness, technology, who's running, who's not. They're just trying to get through the day. So we're gonna eliminate like that portion, right? And then you have the next group below that section there. I'm gonna say 60 to 80 maybe. You have a portion that's very active. They still learning, they still active, they still in the gym. And then you got a portion that's just in a rut. They starting that lonely journey. They don't want to deal with people no more. They're isolating in a rut. And for me, they can be swayed with wellness and fitness first, because they don't, they kind of giving up a little bit, by going into this rut. So I don't know how it fits into politics other than that, if you don't care about your health and your fitness, especially at this age when you really need to start paying attention to it, then how you gonna worry about who's running for any office? Like, But if you're involved with the fitness in your life and you still see your golden years, your silver lining, then they go out and vote. So it depends on,
Can
I don't know.
Can I just say one thing on that real quick?
Sure.
I think for seniors too, I've seen a lot of seniors are on fixed budgets. So I think it's very important that they're paying attention, because we pass, our city passes a budget plan every year, and the property tax is a big issue with that. And it can affect people who are on fixed incomes that are seniors. So I think money would be one of the reasons why they may want to pay attention with what's happening in their local.
Yeah. And I'll also say, when it also for the wellness part of this too, if you have like good health and a good mindset, then you'll feel encouraged to go out and just be active when you're going out and into the world and interacting with people and talking with people too. And if you don't feel good, then your mindset will be affected by that. You'll have like a negative mindset of like thinking like, I don't know if I really belong here, or if I really think I can take care of myself here as well. So it does like fit into politics in terms of like making sure that you like yourself are taking good care of yourself, and that as you do so, that you are feeling energized to go out and communicate with people and advocate on like their behalf.
I think it's important too that seniors, the city also makes sure seniors have those places where they can go to and exercise and meet people and continue to help funding programs that are making that happen and supporting.
I just want to say, like, so I heard something interesting within the last week that the DMV is talking about really changing their approach to relicensing seniors at certain ages. So they're going to have age tiers now. You're going to make between 70 and 80. They may consider giving you an eye and a cognitive test, right? They switching the gears up, and I don't know why. Maybe there's been some more accidents with seniors. I don't know why. But the politics of it, like, did we have a voice? Did seniors have a voice in this decision? Did they even know the decision was being made? Like, and it's something to really think about, when we, this is a cause for us another cause for us to be involved with the politics. Like, we should be knowing, have a voice, and be able to speak about it. It's a little thing, but it's real, and it's real on both ends. Some of us shouldn't be driving, but how do you determine that? So we should have had a voice in that. This is an example.
So that was a really good part one. That was why Civic Power needs reinventing. So the second part of this conversation is from frustration to forward motion. People are tired, right? They feel unheard. What can leaders do differently to re-earn trust is where I'm coming from with Angle. So Heather, what part of campaigning has taught you the most about community frustration? I know that you just started campaigning, you have a few more months of campaigning, but so far, what part of campaigning has taught you the most about community frustration?
Well, first of all, when I'm knocking on doors, which I've been doing, the one thing I want to make people comfortable by saying that I don't believe in party politics at a local level. I want them to understand that I don't believe that Democrat, Republican matter at a local level, because we all want the same things. So that's always my way of just comforting them and letting them know that it doesn't matter what party you are on, I'm here to represent you. So that kind of eases the situation at first. I think people are frustrated with the federal level right now. They would love to see that at a local level, if we could kind of create something that's ours here. I think people are very frustrated and don't want to be involved in anything at this point. So giving them that idea that it doesn't matter what's going on there, we can control what's going on here, is making people feel good right now, or comfortable when you're talking at theirs. But right now, it's nationally, they're just all frustrated at this point.
I agree with that. And Aaron, how do we channel frustration into civic action?
Well, you can do that in a multitude of ways. Of course, like a couple weeks ago, there's been the No Kings rallies that's been popped up like so many different places across the country, especially here locally. Like a lot of mass demonstrations here. And that's good for like showing like the rest of society that you don't want the way of our society to drastically change into an authoritarian and dictatorship type of style here. But the thing is that like, what are you going to do like after that? Like, what's the next plan after you mobilize together for like a demonstration here? That's going to be the next step here. Like, will that include like calling your representatives, like locally, statewide, and federally? Like, that's one way. Just like make it clear, saying, "Hey, I want you to know that I don't support this. I don't support that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that." Like, that's one way of doing it. It's like, okay, you want to make your voice heard to your government representatives here, if they're having town hall meetings, whether it's virtually or in person, however they're doing it, make an effort to show up there and make your presence known and say like, hey, I don't want this. I don't support this. I'm worried that this is going to happen here. Just make your voice heard there too. Like, come up with that strategy, like form a group with each other. And then when you come together and you'll show that kind of power and you'll show that politician saying like, okay, I have to listen to them. And then we talked about voting before too, as well. You want to make it clear that if this politician is going against your collective interests here, that you will guarantee that you will vote against them, whether it's for another candidate or like however you're going to vote. You want to make it clear that when you go to the ballot box, that you'll make it clear saying that I don't want you to keep representing me for the next term because you're not following our collective interests here as well. And you want to be doing like some information campaigns with people. You want to like inform people like what is happening around the country, or how is your representative voting for or against certain legislation here, and what types of legislation are they writing up here, what type of events that they go into. Like, follow their social media pages too. Like, you'll really get an idea of where they spend a lot of their time at. And I know, of course, like social media, they post whatever they want to like shape that image. So just that's one thing to be mindful of, is that they could also be at events that they don't post about. But at the same time, you want to just get a general idea of where they're spending their time at and who they're interacting with too as well. And if they are not speaking with the core groups that you believe that they need to listen to, then we also need to let those groups know that, hey, we also need to go vote at the ballot box too as well, because that's really what ultimately determines that they're going to stay in office or if they're going to leave too. So that's also a way of like saying that if you don't do what you're saying you're going to do, then we're going to vote you out in the next election too. So those are like a multitude of ways that you can like follow up with like holding your politicians accountable.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other question that I have now is for Kamal, who has a deep heart for movement, both physical and political. Ooh, wait, I don't know how that got on. That's weird. And so under this part is frustration to forward motion. Kamal, how do you see physical wellness and civic wellness connecting?
The wellness, though, the wellness. Why just wellness? But I found this question difficult before, how to tie wellness into politics. I'll just say that for me, my own personal wellness, I'm frustrated with politics on the federal level, as Heather was pointing out, as pretty much I would imagine a lot of people in this country, right? And I have to say that my frustration begins with, because I'm feeling we're starting to look like a dictatorship. You know, when people are afraid to speak against the leader, you know, when you lose that free voice, when you're speaking the truth and fear of retaliation, that has like dictatorship, like North Korea and China and Cuba. It has that flavor. I've never seen that before. You know, I've never felt this with a president before. Like, you know, he takes everything so personal and he goes after. He's got like an elephant. He don't forget. And when he gets in that position, he's gonna let you know this is revenge. And he's not even making no secret of it. This is something to be mindful of. It's a little scary, you know, to start developing that momentum, right? In the baby stage of that. Can't ignore it. I'm frustrated because here was a man that got convicted in Manhattan criminal court, right? It was criminal court or civil court. He got convicted in Manhattan court and had 5 other open cases and was elected president of the United States. Now, I ain't blaming him, but I'm blaming somebody. Like, we need to look at this law, because to me it's not fair, not just. How are we going to take this man just got convicted, are we going to say he's going to be our president? But meanwhile, people can't even get jobs. Something is wrong. Maybe it's just me. I am very frustrated about that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. And and then the obvious financial cutbacks and shift to the rich come back to thousands of people. I mean, I've seen a few presidents. You come in the first month and thousands of people lose their job. Who you gonna blame that on? Because they usually come and say, "Oh, the last quarter was on the last president. That's why the economy is so bad." Trump can't do that. He came in cutting all these people out of work, families. Who you gonna blame that on? Who do you blame that on? We blame it on Musk, right? Let's blame Elon Musk. You gotta blame it on somebody. Trump ain't gonna take no away. But to me, very frustrating. Talking about cutting Medicaid in half. You know how many people live out there? Pantry, HUD housing. It's just not even a shift to it. Just start cutting. Like not no preparation, no eviction notices. Not. That's my frustration. And how do we get the wellness? How do we get well out? Because we don't seem to have no power. We don't have a voice. They're doing whatever they want to do, basically.
Did Heather or Aaron want to speak to that, or I'm gonna go right on to Heather? Well, actually, I'm gonna go back to Aaron, and then I'm gonna end on you, Heather, with this one. Because thank you, Kamal, for stirring that one up to bringing us back home to local, which is why our voice really does matter. Because I feel like the lasting effects would be, the federal election or the bigger elections, but we do have to start in our own backyard, right where we are, to let it be known that every voice, pun intended, matters.
It's a matter of trust. We're losing our trust. We're not making a separation. The average person is not making that separation between local politics and feds. And all we know is we're losing trust. We're losing trust in politicians. That's how they're seeing it. They're seeing the separation, so.
Okay. So I'm going to go to Aaron, back to Kamal, and then I'm going to land on you, Heather, with this question in part 3, which is power moves and collective accountability. So Aaron, what's one civic behavior you wish more people would try?
There's a lot. There's a lot of civic behaviors. I would say one civic behavior that we all need is empathy, because with so many issues that are going on here too, we don't want to become isolated from each other and think that what's going on with one person is just on them, and we're not understanding the context of why that issue is happening and how that's deeply affecting them. And where empathy comes in is we can just understand, okay, what if I went through that issue myself here? And if I went through that issue, what would I do? I got to understand, okay, how can we together solve the problem? That's the thing that I believe that we all need. And we can't say that empathy doesn't belong in politics here. It seems the current administration wants to infer that we don't need empathy here. It's just all about personal vendettas and revenge and all that kind of stuff here too. But at the end of the day, public service is about empathy here. It's about understanding the issues that people are facing here and placing yourself in their shoes, placing yourself in their situations here, and thinking about, okay, what can I do to help you out so that we all can solve this problem together and it's not going to perpetuate any longer here.
Okay. And Kamal, the question I have for you is, what motivates you to keep showing up?
So before I answer that, I just want to say I'm not trying to discourage anybody from being involved with politics. I think what I said about the federal issue is even more reason to get involved with politics. So let me make that clear. It wasn't to keep you away. But it was just to point out some stuff that if we get involved with it, let's not ignore the elephant in the room and act like it don't exist, because we do, it never gets addressed. You know, we do have a voice. So with that said, what was the question again, Sparkle? Let me be clear, because I don't want to answer what the same one that Aaron answered. You there?
I believe she asked like what keeps you motivated to be civic.
Oh, what keeps you motivated, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question. I guess for one thing, I know if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. I think Malcolm X said that, right? And I feel that way sometimes. I feel like, you know, certain things that happens around me, I'm like, am I just not going to say nothing, or am I just going to fall for it, or, you know, do I stand up for it? So that's part of it. But I know that that also includes not even if something's happening for me or to me or around me. I know that just being active is important. I believe that I have something to offer. You know, I might not be the most polished person in the world, but I've lived long enough. I think I have some insights that I can share that people benefit from. So I get that sometimes. That's why I asked you to, Heather, because I've run into people that, you know, I've heard or seen me. And so it's a little inspiring. So that's a little motivating, knowing that I may have a little tiny voice for a few handful of people, and all that matters is one or two, right? That keeps me motivated. And it also, by being involved, it also causes me to challenge myself more in certain areas. So I think that's my motivation right there.
Okay, very well. And Heather, so this is the final part before we wrap up, but I just wanted to land on Heather because I think this might be really insightful for our listening audience. How will you stay accountable post-election?
Oh, for me, if I how would I?
Yes,
I will.
when you win.
Oh, of course. I'm like,
After you win.
I think being very open with communication, everything and transparency. I will always post when things are happening, what's going on at the council meetings, be open, available to talk to. That's one of like my biggest thing is being able to be transparent with our local government, with people on social media, through newsletters, everything. Always keep them up to date on everything that's happening, where I am, what I'm doing, and making sure that I hold the council and the mayor accountable. You know, I am not going to back down. If people have questions or concerns, I'm going to ask those questions, and I'm going to keep up, and I'm going to keep hounding on things and make sure that they stay transparent and accountable for us. So those are definitely some of the things that I know that I will be doing when I'm up there, when I win.
Okay. When you win.
Like that.
So we're going to wrap this up now because I promised everyone that I wouldn't keep no more than 45 minutes of our time this Sunday. And I just
How much time do we have?
So right now we're at 38 minutes. I want to go more or less 10 more minutes if that's okay with everyone. Did you want to stay on a little longer? I actually just got some surprise guests for Jacob's birthday.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
So my question to you is, why a vodcast about local politics? What's going on with that?
That's a really good question. Thank you for answering that question, Kamal. I actually revamped and created this podcast after running for city council and not winning. So I thought about it like, maybe that was a good thing. I dodged a bullet because the world seems so sensitive right now, meaning that if you say your opinion, you can be pretty much what they call blackballed, or they got this like cancel culture thing going on. So my views are typically eccentric. I think I'm an eccentric person. So I'm talking about things like mental health. I'm talking about things like poverty, and things that lead, and you know how Utica has the highest lead, even higher than Flint. So I'm talking about untraditional things, and it's not as favorable. So I felt like having a platform where there's no censorship, and me being able to control the narrative, not just sticking to Democratic Party, Republican Party, Independent Party, being able to go a little bit further with this voice, I decided to open up the platform to do the same to my constituents and to my neighbors and to people like you all who are professionals in Utica, who could utilize this platform to express yourself beyond the criteria of I guess traditional politics where watch what you say, watch who you hang around, and things like that. So I guess I did it for more of a freedom, to have a right to freedom to be able to utilize your speech without having somebody tell you, no, don't say that. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yes, it did. I want to ask Aaron too. Aaron, are you going to run for politics, for office one day? Because I see it
That's
in
what
you.
I want to know.
Come on, I have to ask this question before I see it in you, really. So, what are you thinking?
Well, thank you very much for the optimism there too. I would say I would need I would say like the stuff I'm doing right now is just continuing to just increase my presence in Utica and in the surrounding areas with just showing like the civic engagement experience and knowledge that I have here. And with that, it's just really like talking with people, as I just did with this podcast today, is just the important components of civic engagement and how we can all come together and make sure that we all succeed and that we all thrive together too. And and that's really that's really my goal and my purpose is just make sure that we're all like participating with each other here too and just getting to know each other. So that's just really where I'm at right now, is that I want to just keep getting my name out there, keep getting my presence heard, and continue to set a structure for how like I envision all of us to be civically engaged in our community and everywhere else we go.
You're good. Let me rephrase the question. Have it ever crossed your mind to run for office at any point in your life? Not next year, but has it ever been like a thought in your mind? Let me rephrase it though.
Yeah, I would say like I would say like as I'm like learning more about like different offices, that's another thing to consider too, is just how do a lot of these public offices like work and function too. So because I could definitely imagine myself being like in one of these public office positions here too. I would just need to know like how does this all work? How do I like effectively run like political campaigns here? How do I interact with people? How do I have the mindset to do that work and to be ready for whatever outcome occurs here too, and also be ready for the fact that not everyone loves politicians. I'll just be honest here. It's like it's a very important position to have, like professionally. It's a very important thing, and it should be seen as an honor to be a politician and to serve in public office here too. But as we like talked about with frustration here too, people are going to be frustrated with their politicians for so many different reasons. Whether whether they did something or not did something, they're just going to be frustrated with them too. So, in my mind, I would need to be ready for that. I would need to just be ready for all of the positive and negative feedback that people will give, and some will be fair and some will be unfair too. That's just the mindset, and this goes for anyone who wants to just run for public office too, is that you just have to be really ready for anything that could come your way too. Like, sure, you would want them to criticize your political platforms, but they could go personal, and that's something to just be mindful of. So it's really just the mindset, understanding the roles of the public office, and just really understanding the campaigning scene too as well, and just even knowing like what happens after all of it's over too, and just knowing like all those options. Like like after running for office. It's like what Sparkle was saying, like after running for city council, she decided to have this podcast. That's her own thing, and that's a good thing because no one else can take that away from you. You don't want that censorship here too. So that really goes for anything that everyone does, is that you just want to have that one thing that can never be taken away from you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Sparkle.
Well, guess what? I'm going to extend it an extra 2 minutes if necessary. The question that you asked Aaron, have you ever thought about running yourself, Kamal, for public office?
Yeah, you got to turn it back to you now.
Yeah, I just ran for tenant board here, and I didn't win. And it was nerve-wracking. I can't imagine waiting for this vote, man. I just, on this small scale, I just can't imagine. I don't know. I think the difference with me is like, why I think you would be good, Aaron, not to switch it off from because you show up to everything. So you have the time. You engage. Whereas, I've done it before when Sparkle was running a few years ago, and it took a lot, man. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Stuffing envelopes, mailing them out, get the list for what the Democrats and sending them stuff and showing up to the door and knocking on the door every day and canvassing and spending money for lawn signs and putting them up, and it's definitely, and going to meetings and Democratic meetings and potential sponsors, and every day was something going on, and you have to show up because if you don't show up, it looks like you ain't really trying to get no votes, right? Why she ain't trying? Is she running or he running? So you have to be prepared for that. I think even where I'm at right now, I've got some other stuff going on, but no, I haven't. Even though you keep asking me that you think I should, I just don't. And not being from Utica, I don't think it's going to help me either. I watched you. I think that's what hurt you a little bit. You wasn't native. You're not a native Utican. And I watched all the candidates get up and talk about, I've been here 30, 40 years. I retired at the fire department. And how you gonna beat that background? These people grew up with these people that's ready to vote for me. We come in the last 10 years expecting them to vote for us over someone that's been here their whole life that they watch in action. It's kind of tough. There's nothing personal. It's just naturally tough.
Well, I'll say to that, if you've been here all your life and things the way they are, you should be ashamed to even mention that you've been here all your life and these changes have not been happening. So that's one way of looking at it. But if you lived here all these years and I had to come from New York City and try to nudge a change out of these people, that means change is good. Change is good. I came close, but no cigar, but I won everything else, the people that I network with, the people that I have got in contact with, and just some regular friends that I actually gained and earned, and trust that I gained and earned. I'm not saying that I won't run again. I'll just say not right now, right? But for the closing question that we have for the wrapping up, the one thing, if every viewer watching could commit to just one thing to activate their civic power in the next 30 days, what would you ask them to do? Come on.
Repeat that question one more time. If we ask every person if they could
Watching, if they
activate
could commit to just one thing to
one
activate
thing,
their civic power, just one thing to activate their civic power in the next 30 days, what would you ask them to do?
to be more engaged and to try to engage others as well. Because, like I said, there's power in numbers. We need the numbers. So we need this civic engagement, which means everyone around us. We just keep trying. Just keep trying to get people involved and keep getting the nose. I think that's it. Be involved and get other people involved.
Okay. And Aaron?
Well, in addition to what Kamal said, I would also say know which societal issue or community issue you're passionate about, and whether it's one or two or a few more, whichever issues that you are passionate about, make that be your focus for your civic action plan. And once you identify that, then be able to collaborate with people who have those similar interests with you and see like what kind of plans you two can come together to bring more awareness to that issue, or work together to like solve it together through like a community project. There's like so many like community events and projects that are going on around here. And that's because people have a specific interest of solving a certain issue here, and they collaborate with people who like agree with them, saying, yeah, we got to solve this together too as well. So go out there, build those relationships with people, network with people, and be able to just understand like how we can all work together to solve this.
And Heather?
If I could tell everybody to do one thing, I think it would be to attend a local meeting within your city, whether it's a council meeting, whether it's a neighborhood association meeting. It's a small thing, but it builds awareness. You hear who's speaking up about things in your community, or it's a small step. And that's kind of how I started. I just started going to council meetings. That was the first thing I did. And I learned who was running what in what parts of the city. I learned about legislation. There's little things. Then I started to run a neighborhood association, and then I started attending all of them. So if you could pick one thing, my recommendation would be to start attending a local meeting once a month. Find something either within your neighborhood or council or something like that, where you can just be a part of something and hear what's going on. I think that's the best way. That's my opinion on that.
Okay. And I'm going to answer this question, and I'm going to say, register to vote. If you're not already registered, register. And if you move since the last time that you registered, re-register, but with your new address, or change your address is very important.
Please.
So they can stay in track with you, and you can stay in track, like maybe if you move to a different district or whatsoever like that. So I would say register to vote. Ask your neighbor, are they registered to vote? Ask someone you love or know, care about, adore, work with, or just passing by, are they registered to vote? Let that be a conversational piece. Most especially when it comes to local elections, because that's when we see the real true power, and we have the real true control from my own experience and from what I'm seeing. So my piece of advice would be register to vote or change your address since you registered to vote. And that's all I have. So wow, what a powerful conversation. I just wanted to ask you all, did you have any last closing statements before I close us out this evening? Kamal, Aaron, Heather.
Thanks for having me. That's all I have.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much, Sparkle, for inviting me back on again. Keep up the good work, and I know all of us will be doing great things.
Absolutely. There will be a part 3, so I'm hoping that you two join back again. If not, totally understandable. Heather, would you like anything else to say to our listening audience? Okay.
Thank you, Sparkle, for everything. This was great. Everybody just keep going to your council meetings, pay attention to what's happening locally, attend your neighborhood association meetings, do all of that. It's one thing I can recommend. And don't forget,
That's
there's
right.
a big city election this year. So,
and if you live in Utica, vote for Heather or else.
I do have a question. Was there a primary with you on it?
no, none of it. No,
Not for the city council,
there was
right?
just a couple Republican primaries, but that was it. So no,
So
I didn't.
yours is just that one vote in November?
November, yep.
When is it? But it's at the same time as the other elections,
November
like for
4th,
judges and stuff?
Mhm.
Okay.
So our whole city is up for election, except for council president.
Sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, early voting starts October 25th. But we'll have a couple of more
So we have time.
conversations
Okay.
to remind everyone as the time get closer. Kamal, I hope you can join us for the next session. So this was a powerful conversation. Big thank you to my co-hosts today, Heather Wasielewski, Aaron Woodman, and Kamal Fardan, for bringing your passion, your wisdom, and energy to this space this evening. If there's one thing we hope you walk away with, it's civic power isn't reserved for the powerful. It lives in your choices, your questions, and your consistency. We'll be back in July for part 3 of this Civic Power series. We'll dig into community organizing, policy priorities, and how to mobilize beyond Election Day. Until then, stay informed, stay involved, and most importantly, stay connected. Until next time, this is Reality Speaks TV with me, Sparkle Denise. This is real people, real talk, and real time. Peace and power, y'all. Good night.
Peace, everybody.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.